Hello everyone, welcome back to Botany Place. In today's video, we're gonna talk about how reproduction as a whole had evolved in case of your plant kingdom. Now, if we are talking about the five different groups of your plant kingdom, we know that all the five different groups follow your sexual reproduction. So when we see algae, what do we see here is here mostly the particular sex organs were non-jacketed and basically represented by the male gametes directly. But what do we see in advanced form of this algae? The male sex organ was represented by antheridium. Now this particular antheridium remained as such till your particular bryophyta, which also contain antheridium, till your pteridophyta, which also contain antheridium as your male sex organ. Now when we reach to the particular group gymnosperm, this antheridium have evolved and they were replaced by structures called your microsporophyll, which contains your male gametophyte called pollens. Now, this particular structure was carried forward in one of the most advanced plant, which is your particular angiosperm, where pollen was the male gametophyte. Now, talking about the female reproductive structure, what do we see? Algae had the most primitive type of structure, although they also were non-jacketed, and most of the algae it is directly represented by the female gamete itself. But in case of higher algae, we also see structures like your particular carpogonium. We also see your particular structures like oogonium. We saw structures like escogonium, which represent our female reproductive part. Now, later, what we see in case of bryophyta, the female reproductive part has been changed to archegonium. Now, this archegonium was carried forward till gymnosperm. Archegonium was carried forward till gymnosperm. What we need to understand one particular fact. In bryophyta and pteridophyta, the archegonium was directly present on leaves. But when we talk about your gymnosperm, these were present inside a structure called endosperm. And this makes one of the important question about the ploidy level, which is endosperms are also haploid in nature. Now, in this, we see the presence of archegonium. But this archegonium was totally found absent in case of your particular angiosperm, where we see the particular female gametophyte as your embryo sac, okay, which was present inside your particular ovule. Now, what do we see when we talk about your particular reproduction in case of your algae? That the basis of your propagation has evolved during the course of this particular evolution. If we talk about the basis in case of your particular algae, we have seen that they were represented as your particular cryptograms. Now, cryptograms basically means when your particular organism propagate with the help of your particular spores. Now, this propagation method was followed even in case of bryophyta, which also comes to the group called cryptogram, followed by pteridophyta, which also comes under cryptogram. Now, this, if we talk about gymnosperm, was changed to spermatophyta, where it is propagating with the help of seed. And if we talk about angiosperm, it also propagate by seed, but the only difference was in case of your particular angiosperm, the seeds were not naked. They were naked in case of your particular gymnosperm. That's why they are also known as your gymnosperm, which means naked seed. Now see, these gymnosperm and angiosperms were also represented by a word called phanerograms. And we should remember this word because earlier they used to represent them by phanerograms only. And this can be asked in your particular questions that what are phanerograms. So phanerograms were the word used for seed producing plants. Now, talking about the particular algae, bryophyta, pteridophyta, gymnosperm, and angiosperm during sexual reproduction, we talk about something known as your particular meiospore. So, what do we see? That meiospore is present in case of your particular algae, and this thing had continued even to your particular angiosperm also, which means this particular property is one of the advanced property which was present till today also. What about the meiospore in case of angiosperm? Which is the meiospore we are talking about? For example, you talk about microspores, which forms your pollen grains. You talk about your megaspores, which were responsible for the formation of your particular embryo cell. So these are the meiospores which we are talking about in case of your particular angiosperm. If we are talking about bryophyta or pteridophyta, let us talk about pteridophyta. They are the spores which were the resultant of your meiosis, which later formed the prothallus in case of Homosporus, and forms male and female gametophyte in case of your heterothallus plant. So this is how the sexual reproduction has evolved during the course of your particular evolution of different groups of your plant kingdom. Thank you very much.